Order at 6:58. We've already done the roll call, so we'll for the work session, so we'll dispense with the roll call.
Correct.
So would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Conkle, would you like to review the agenda?
Yes, sir. Under my section, we have a couple overnight field trips to approve. We have the Ohio High School Athletic Association, which we'll get into later for the 24-25 season. There are some personnel items. I'll let Mr. Castater in a minute talk about his section, but I added two items at the end. Board committees, which we need to finalize those. We need to establish dates and then obviously vote on the board committees. And then we added the 24-25 school calendar conversation. And those are some highlights. Mr. Caster, you're going to talk about your section?
Yeah, 4 things on the agenda tonight. A relatively normal month, a couple donations to approve, our investment reports, 3 treasurer's reports, including cash summary for the month, as well as a general fund comparison that kind of just shows where we're at financially in the general fund from last year to this year. And we do have one then and now on the agenda, which is an approval of a purchase that did not have a purchase order prior to being done. We're working through those issues now to prevent those from happening. This is one that was associated with an insurance claim that we had from a lightning strike here at the high school. So it's kind of a pass-through. We purchased the item, had the service done, and we've received the reimbursement from the insurance claim already.
Okay, anybody have any questions on the agenda? Okay. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the agenda? Well, roll call, excuse me.
Yep, sure. Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. The motion passes 5-0. Minutes. Everybody's had a chance to look over the minutes. Anybody have any questions about anything on the minutes? Any comments? Not, we'll ask for a motion for approval of the minutes.
Make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Motion passes 5-0. All right. Dr. Conkle, I believe.
Next, we should have the legislative report, which is number 6. Is that correct?
No, yeah, it looks, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I got it now.
No worries.
I didn't know it was back to back. I missed it. All right, legislative report.
Okay, yeah.
What do you have for
I know,
us?
that's why it threw me off from next week. I usually do it at the end of the meeting, so.
All right.
Not really, I mean, a whole lot going on since, I guess, my last report back in December. I think I mentioned something about the AEDs. It's House Bill 47. It was passed in our House back in June, and now it's in the Senate Health Committee as of December 6th to look at placing AEDs in all of our public school facilities. And then House Bill 68, which is the most recent. Also, this passed in our House back in June, and the Senate went to the governor for law. It was vetoed, and then after Christmas break, the House came back over the governor's veto, and yesterday the Senate overrode the veto. So it's supposed to go into law in 90 days. And I forget what the exact word is. It's a the SAFE Act, Saving Adolescents from Experimentation, and it's twofold. One is to prevent gender-affirming care to adolescents, and then the other is to keep separate biological sexes with sports, both in public education and higher education. So we'll see how that plays out. everything. So that is what I
Have
have.
we heard anything from the OHSAA about that, Dr. Conkle?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. So 90 days would make it go into effect, what, in April?
Right.
February, March, April? So that'd be right in the middle of the spring season.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out. Anybody have any questions or comments on the legislative report? All right, if not, let's move on to the Butler Tech report. Mr. Kleinfelder?
Butler Tech held their organizational and a regular meeting in the same night. The president of Butler Tech is the Monroe rep, Brett Guido. The vice president is Jim Detzel from Northwest. They're still going to hold their meetings on 5:30 on the third Tuesday of each month. That creates the least conflict with the other district schedule. Only a couple minor items at the meeting. They are taking applications currently for all the JVS students that are interested in attending Butler Tech next year. Those close on 1/31. They're still, Butler Tech is working hard to work on capacity and last year they turned away almost 1,700 students. It's becoming more and more popular as some trade areas are becoming popular, college expensive, all that. They did get a final approval from the state for some funding for the bioscience expansion at the Bioscience Center. They're going to add another wing on there in cooperation with Cincinnati State, and they hope to have that done by 8/26, and students that go there will be able to begin work and hopefully get a bachelor's in nursing about the time they graduate high school. So that's going to open up 8/26. They also have they got approval last month for the Middletown Aviation Center. They don't have a date set for that to open, but they do have all the preliminary drawings and plans approved for that facility. And then they have one employee that they're going to have a hearing on for a retire, rehire, a teacher at Lakota. Project Lead the Way, because that's a hard position to find, engineering teacher, so they will have that for him. I think that meeting's next week.
Great. Has there been?
Wait a minute, one other thing. If you're not familiar, Cafe Lee is open for business from 11 to 1 on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Next week is an American Cuisine, January 31st, February 1st, and we have Ross and Middletown seniors are creating the menu for that. Elena Gadro, I believe, is our student who will be chefing that up for that week, and it's awesome food. If you get a chance, it's worth going to. And they do that every Wednesday and Thursday between 11 and 1. Take cash, credit cards, or check. All right.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So they've been using the lottery system to fill their programs now for a couple of years. What's been the feedback about that as opposed to doing a merit-based as it was done in the past?
Opinion only? My opinion?
Well, I'm just wondering what the feedback's been as far as the board, what is the board hearing feedback-wise?
I'd say it's about 50-50. Some of the board likes it, some don't. I think they were given that advice on counsel from their attorneys because they were constantly being accused of not accepting students that have 504s and IEPs in conjunction with the regular statistics for most of the schools that they serve. And this eliminates that. However, I think it also, I want my brakes fixed by a kid that wants to be a mechanic and has some mechanical ability. I don't want the guy that's his third choice because he didn't get into firefighting or police academy and he got stuck in auto mechanics. But he wanted to go to Butler Tech. So,
You think that?
You said they had to turn away 1,700 students.
yes.
How many students do they currently serve?
Well, serve is probably a ton because they got all the satellites. So you're probably in the, 8,000 served. But D. Russell Lee, for example, has about 900. Bioscience has probably about 350. Monroe campus with natural science probably has 150. And I'm missing one.
Bioscience, natural.
Well, there's
School
a
of the
truck
Arts.
driving academy, and
Yeah, that's,
that's all adult, isn't it?
adult.
Yeah.
There is a new law, though, was passed where they can serve regular high school students in adult ed if they have the ability to do.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to do that with some welding. They're looking at that, trying to add welding because that's so popular. They're actually in the process of trying to build another welding facility in one of the rooms they got rid of, something out there. So they're trying to,
So they
deal
still,
with it.
they still
but-
just have one welding lab, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
soon to have two,
good.
but capacity is a problem. And the
Yeah.
lottery system, in my opinion, is not the way to go, but it's not, no public participation complained about it.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Time for public comment. Did we receive anything?
We did not. No,
Okay, no
not this
public
evening.
comment tonight. All right. Mr. Conkle, you're next.
Yes, sir. Before I get into the agenda, two things I want to discuss. There's a certificate in front of you. January is School Board Recognition Month, so I just want to say thank you for your service, and I'm sure you'll take that certificate and post it somewhere that's visible in your house. And but no, I just want to say thank you. Second item, this is some good news out of the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. Morgan Elementary was selected as one of 14 schools selected to participate in the National Blue Ribbon School. So that's a process that we have to go through. So kudos to the Morgan staff and students and community. It's a lengthy process, but we are fortunate to be nominated. Look at test scores, obviously achievement and growth, and they take the top, you have to be in the top 15% in Ohio academically, so well-deserved for the Morgan staff. I'll update the board how that progresses, but we just got the email yesterday, so I wanted to share that.
That's great.
Yeah,
Super.
Good news. So my section, a couple items, I'd like to block A through C. A is just the Ohio High School Athletic Association resolution to be a member for next school year. B, there are 3 overnight field trips, Rambotics, and then 2 show choir trips. C are schedules A, C, and D, and then we'll have a separate vote for Schedule E. So I'd like to block A through C together.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve those items?
Make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Yep. Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes,
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0.
And then finally, item D, separate vote, which is one employee under Schedule E for a separate vote, please.
motion to approve separate vote for personnel?
Second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Abstain. I'm abstaining because it's a relative, but according to the thing here, I wouldn't have to necessarily because it's distant, but I'm going to anyhow, just to keep things on the up and up. All right, anything else?
I do not.
Okay. On to the treasurer's reports.
I reviewed all 4 items I have on there already, so I'd like to block those letters A through D together for one vote.
Do we have a motion?
Make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. The motion passes 5-0. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Conkle?
Yes, sir. The next item in your packet is the most recent school board committees. And looks like, Mr. Young, you made assignments for each of the committees. I think the next step is to establish a time on 4 of the 5 committees, and then we can vote that into the agenda.
Do you want to try and set the dates tonight, or do you just want to approve the members?
Well, the dates are set.
Yeah,
So we just need to approve, like, for example, policy committee. Mr. Beckman and Mr. Young are on that
Right.
committee. So we need to establish a meeting time, and then we can vote this in.
you want to do it in the evening,
Yeah, evening's fine.
I'm assuming, since you're working, or
6 o'clock.
do you want to take
6
take
o'clock,
time
somewhere
off
around there.
during the day to do it or not?
I'm completely flexible.
This is a board committee. We'll, whatever you decide, we'll approve it.
When you want to meet at 6 on those dates?
Yeah, that's fine, as long as that's.
We're talking about policy?
This is
Policy.
policy, correct.
Okay,
6 PM?
yep.
The next one is finance committee, and those times and dates have been set, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So then we go down to the facility committee, which is Mr. Beckman and Mr. Gunther. We just need to establish a time.
6 o'clock.
Okay. Next, we have the safety committee, which is Mr. Kleinfelder and Mrs. Webb.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I say like either like the first part of the day or the tail end after work, so, but with the safety committee, there's other stakeholders there, correct? I mean,
Correct.
So.
Yeah, but we'll work with
We've
that.
normally done like a 1 o'clock in the afternoon or
Yeah,
2
if we could
o'clock
do
in
later.
the afternoon.
I mean,
2 or 3.
anytime after 3 would be,
Anytime after what?
anytime after 3 would be ideal, but
Okay.
Keith, what do you,
3:30?
yeah.
3:30 safety committee. And next, we have the student achievement committee.
it's you and me.
Hmm?
You and I.
Mr. Young and Mrs. Webb.
Same.
What time? 3:30?
Usually, yeah, anytime after.
3:30, it looks like.
Yeah, anytime after 3 is usually good for me.
And are we going to have this one on January 31st? Are we ready for that?
We are ready.
Okay.
So Steve, you want to, I guess this is put into the agenda, so we just need to do a roll call?
Yeah, we'll do a
Okay.
roll
Motion
call
and
and
second.
vote.
We have a motion to approve the committees and
motion.
meeting times.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes, the motion passes 5-0.
So we'll get those items on the website and get them published, so everybody's aware of them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next item?
Next item is the school calendar for 24-25. So last time we had this conversation, the school board asked me to put a committee together and have a conversation about where we've been and kind of next steps. So last night after school, we had a meeting with, I think there were 12, 13 members there, some teachers and some administrators. We talked about kind of how we got to this point. We talked about the process that has been established. We talked about the school board approved this, obviously, a year ago. We had some I thought, very healthy dialogue. And my understanding is, it's not like, well, first of all, the committee does not feel that we should change the calendar 6 months out, which is kind of where we are now. I think it is just, we believe it's bad timing. We're not opposed to, in the future, to, if the school board wants to change some parameters or guardrails and establish a different process, we're okay with that. We thought this process was very collaborative. But again, and many people spoke up during this meeting, and what we didn't realize is our EMIS department, which is our educational management system, which is the internal makings of our district. That office spoke and was very clear that if we changed the calendar at this point, that would be a huge time-consuming project for that department. So, again, I took information from the administrators, from the teachers, from our EMIS coordinator. And again, it's not like we don't want to change, but I think the timing is bad. And I'm going to be honest with the board. We went through a very collaborative process. This has been a year in the making. I just think it's bad timing to make a change at this point. But again, we need to move on and have that growth mindset of how do we move this district forward. And I just think that if we go down this road, it's just a bad precedent. And that's just kind of my personal opinion. But committee met, and the committee decided not to make a recommendation to move forward.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you getting the group together. I think we have board members that are disappointed that we weren't able to make any adjustments. And I think we've talked about the fact that the collaborative process in the future needs to include parents. That's the piece that's missing, it seems. So we want to make sure that definitely is part of any further discussions or creation of calendars. And again, I think you're right that the board will have some ideas of parameters that we'd like to set in terms of things that the board, I think, will want to see or not see in the following year's calendar. And we need to, from a time standpoint, I'm sure we'd like to get that in the hands of the REA in the fall so that they can have time to look at it and provide feedback prior to the board taking any action on it. So I think we'll, at this point, we'll move forward with the calendar as is, but I feel like, like I said, I think it's disappointing that we couldn't find a way to make adjustments. Any other board members have any comments on that?
I just think moving forward, I think for the next calendar year, I think we need to take all of these considerations into consideration, to reiterate myself there. But yeah, we definitely need to take all of that data that we've gotten, and we definitely need to include students or the parents of the students, and try to come up with something that kind of meets in the middle.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll speak. Well, I'm disappointed, to say the least, because to me, this has been kind of an ongoing issue. And Dr. Kunkel, this calendar that's coming up in 24-25, the board voted on it the week that we received the board docs. It was not a collaborative process for this second-year calendar that I'm aware of, because we voted on that or the staff voted on the first year. But then the second year came, I'm like, where did the second year calendar even come from? To me, I guess I was not, and maybe I missed something, but like, what's the rationale for starting August 8th? I mean, like, I guess was never communicated. Why are we starting that early? And the public did speak up. We had Karen Burwinkle come in here and provide a community survey along with other district calendars, and the old board wouldn't even consider revisiting it, nor administration here. So to say we needed to start this process sooner, we could have, and we had a missed opportunity. We served the community, and the community spoke. We didn't listen. Like I said, I'm disappointed, but moving forward, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Thank you for your input. We appreciate that.
Well, just my 2 cents, I think, because we're at that point, we're 6 months out of school starting, we need to look at, I've always wanted 2 years out, and right now is a good time to start looking at the following school year, 25-26. I don't care when it starts, when it ends, or anything about it. How many PD days there are. But I think it would be a good idea to start working on that and get that out so that we can all get past this and move forward. And maybe a board member could be on that committee. I don't want to be on it. I'll say that now, but a board member might, when they have those calendar meetings and discussions, might be a good idea, might be a bad idea, I don't know. But I know one guy's good on corresponding dates, so if you want anything from corresponding date, he'll do it. But I think that would be a good idea. That way we begin to build for the future. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I can speak for where it came from. You know, the guys at, up at Cleveland Cliffs, there's 1,800 hourly guys. Some of them live in the district, and, you know, they've got to put their vacation time in by September, October. So, you know, to Keith's point, I think it is beneficial for them to try to get a calendar in advance. So while the topic is hot and while we're discussing it, it would be good to show that we are making an effort to accommodate the public. So I think that'd be good to start sooner than later.
Okay.
No, maybe we could, Dr. Conkle, perhaps you'd be able to meet with some parent groups
Sure.
here in the spring, find out what kind of things they like or don't like about the calendars, and we get some parent input from the very get-go. So, okay? we'll-
Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean,
All
it
right.
can be as simple as when you send out your district newsletter.
A survey.
You could put a little survey
Sure.
QR code on there. I think
Yeah.
everybody's tech savvy. The majority of people are, not everybody. I mean,
Right.
I do have friends that don't, but it's it'd be as simple as a QR code could do it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I appreciate everybody's input on this. I think we have a sense of where we want to move forward in the future, and for now, we'll put this to rest. Okay. Time for board comments?
Yep.
So we'll do around the horn here and see if any board members have anything they want to comment on at all. Mr. Kleinfelder, we'll start with you.
Just thanks, Chad, for bringing in the attorney. It's always good to hear all the things that you can potentially trip up on legally. I did not realize that we could be sued individually. That was something that I probably need to up my liability insurance, but that was an interesting fact. And I don't put anything on Facebook that says I'm a board member, ever. So, good. Thanks.
Mr. Gunther?
I've got no comments.
Just to reiterate, Keith, I think that was a very good presentation. I think that's something we should do with regularity, probably not just with us, but also with faculty and staff as well. But again, I just want to express my appreciation for the community to allow me to have this position.
Great. Mrs. Webb?
Nope, not anything.
No other comments?
No.
Okay. A couple things I'd like the board members to think about is whether we might possibly want to try and have one meeting a year at the other buildings. That we give an opportunity for whoever's doing the highlights at the meeting, student groups and so forth, they'd be able to do it at that meeting that would be in their building. And also get us a chance just to get out and see the buildings. Especially, I'm sure we have some board members that haven't been in some of the buildings or don't know a lot about them, and it'd be an opportunity to have Dr. Conkle and our facilities person to kind of walk us through the building perhaps prior to the meeting, just to get a feel for the building and express any concerns about the future upkeep or maintenance of the building and so forth. The other thing that I think we probably want to try and do is to just try to invite someone from different areas of the board operation to come and talk to the board a little bit about that. Dr. Conkle gave us a nice written report from different areas of our board operation in each of the buildings.
So, Mr. Young, in your packet is an an outline of every presentation for the 24 school year.
Oh, you already have it in place?
Yep, it's all good. So in your packet, it has all the departments that will present and also the buildings that will present. So,
Okay.
And we can make any changes needed, but
Okay.
we want to get
okay.
that in your hands so you have it. Again, it's a draft. We can make any changes.
We used to go building to building. We stopped doing it. You remember why, Amy? Was it because of the filming? Or was it?
I just think it was just preference. It was just like you had to have like a.
I mean, we
like
were
a-
doing it every month. We were going somewhere different.
Yeah.
Just the whole time.
Mr. Lawson, not to put you on the spot, but what's that look like technology-wise on the mobile?
Everything you see would have to be loaded up into
that'd be 3 times a year, I guess. Well, just give it some
Yeah,
thought.
that's
Yeah, sure.
All four.
Just yeah, just give me some feedback as
That's a
far
board
as-
decision, so.
Yeah,
whatever
just
you
give me
guys
some
wanna do.
feedback as far as what your thinking is on that, if you would, board members, and we'll move forward accordingly. And again, just congratulations to Morgan. There was a time when the U.S. Department of Education first started their Blue Ribbon program that districts nominated themselves. In other words, they applied for the Blue Ribbon process. Eldon and Morgan were Blue Ribbon schools in 1988, and the high school just, how long ago has it been now? 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. But the process changed at that time, where now the State Department of Education has to actually nominate you, and so it's a little more rigorous in terms of, I'm not just detracting from what schools did earlier, they certainly deserved it, but it makes it even it makes it a huge honor for Morgan to be considered, because it's a high bar to reach at this point in time. So congratulations to them, and we look forward to helping them celebrate this great award. Okay? So, given that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Yep. Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.